Welcome back, everyone. We got another deep dive ready to go. And this time we're going to be talking about success stories from famous entrepreneurs. It's a book that I think a lot of our listeners will find pretty fascinating.
Yeah, definitely. It's a
Yeah.
it's a book that's really packed with these amazing stories of people who started with practically nothing and built these incredible businesses and, it's really inspiring.
Yeah, and I think what's really interesting about it is it's not just like a surface level look at their success.
Mm.
It really digs into like the mindsets, the decisions they made,
Hmm.
the challenges they faced, and how they overcame them.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's not just like a how to get rich quick kind of book. It's really about
Yeah.
the underlying principles, the kind of things that drive these people and how they're able to achieve what they did.
Okay, so let's dive right in. The book starts with a name that's pretty much synonymous with innovation, Steve Jobs. Now, we all know Apple, obviously, but what I found really interesting was how much Jobs was obsessed with design and user experience,
Yeah.
like right from the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. The book talks about how even when they were working out of that garage, the legendary Apple garage, Jobs was always insisting that computers shouldn't just work. They should be beautiful. They should be intuitive. Back then, most people thought computers were these intimidating, complicated machines.
Right, yeah.
And Jobs really wanted to change that. He wanted to make technology accessible and user-friendly.
And that makes his famous quote about design even more interesting.
Yeah.
The one where he says, design is not just what it looks like and feels like. Design is how it works.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't just about aesthetics for him. It was about the whole experience of using the product.
Right. And that focus on design really set Apple apart. I mean, it's a big part of why products like the Macintosh and the iPhone became so iconic. They weren't just gadgets. They were like objects of desire.
Yeah, it's like they had this almost like a cult following. People were really passionate about them.
Exactly.
But, it wasn't all smooth sailing for Jobs. The book actually details how he was ousted from Apple in the mid-'80s. Can you imagine? Being kicked out of the company you founded?
Wow. Yeah, that's got to be tough.
But what's fascinating is that he used that time to start other ventures, like NXT and Pixar.
Right.
And then eventually he returned to Apple and led them to even greater success.
It's like that period of being away from Apple was actually really important for him. He learned from his mistakes, he honed his leadership skills, and he came back with this renewed sense of purpose.
Yes, it's a good reminder that setbacks are a part of the journey.
Yeah.
And it's really how you respond to them that matters. Now, speaking of overcoming challenges, the book then shifts to another incredible entrepreneur, Oprah Winfrey. Her story is so inspiring.
Oh, absolutely.
Talk about resilience.
Yeah.
I mean, she went from a really difficult childhood.
Yeah, marked by poverty and abuse. It's
Mm.
incredible how she was able to overcome all of that.
Right. And become one of the most influential media personalities in the world.
What I found really insightful was how the book explains her rise in the context of the changing media landscape. Like,
Right.
she came into television at a time when talk shows were often pretty superficial, a lot of sensationalism.
Yeah, they were all about,
Yeah.
the drama,
Yeah.
the conflict.
Right. But Oprah brought something different. She brought empathy, authenticity.
Yeah, she connected with her audience in a way that
Yeah.
that nobody else was really doing at the time.
Exactly. And the book argues that this genuine connection, this ability to create a shared experience, that was the foundation of her media empire. It wasn't just about entertainment. It was about building a community.
Right. It was about something more, something deeper.
Yeah. And she was also a really smart businesswoman. She recognized the power of owning her content, building multiple platforms.
Yeah, so we see her branching out from the talk show, creating a magazine, a network,
Yeah.
a production company.
It's like a masterclass in leveraging success to create even more opportunities.
Yeah. Okay, now get ready for this next one, because we're about to dive into the world of Elon Musk. This guy is all about pushing the limits, audacious goals, relentless innovation.
Oh yeah, he's a force of nature.
What really struck me was how his ambition was evident from such a young age. The book talks about how he taught himself programming at 12, created and sold his first video game before he even graduated high school, and he was already thinking about electric cars and space travel as a teenager.
Wow, that's pretty incredible.
Right. And he's not afraid to take risks. I mean, founding SpaceX with the goal of colonizing Mars, that's not exactly playing it safe.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
But the book also points out that his risk-taking is based on a deep understanding of technology and a willingness to constantly learn and adapt.
Yeah, he seems to surround himself with really brilliant people, engineers, scientists.
Yeah, and he's always challenging conventional thinking, experimenting, trying to find new solutions.
It's amazing how he's disrupted so many industries, Online payments with PayPal, electric vehicles with Tesla, space exploration with SpaceX.
Yeah, it's like he sees a problem, and then he just figures out a way to solve it.
And he builds a company to do it.
Right.
Now, of course, he's not without his critics. Some people say he overpromises and underdelivers, that his ventures are more hype than substance.
Yeah, there's definitely been some controversy.
But you can't deny that he's pushing boundaries, inspiring a whole new generation of innovators.
Oh, absolutely.
Speaking of disrupting industries, let's move on to another visionary entrepreneur, Jeff Bezos, and the amazing story of Amazon, like Jobs. Bezos had this incredible foresight to see the potential of the internet before most people did.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Back in 1994, online shopping was practically unheard of.
Right.
But Bezos saw that the internet could revolutionize retail. He knew that people would want to be able to buy anything from anywhere with just a few clicks.
And that was his vision for Amazon.
Yeah.
And he was laser focused on creating a great customer experience.
Absolutely.
The book talks about how he obsessed over every detail.
From the website's design to the speed of delivery, he wanted everything to be perfect.
Take one-click ordering, for example. It seems so simple now.
Right.
But back then it was revolutionary.
It was.
Bezos understood that removing any friction from the buying process, that was key to winning over customers.
Yeah, especially in those early days of e-commerce.
And then there was Prime membership.
Oh, yeah, that was a game changer.
It created this loyal customer base, people who are willing to pay for convenience, for speed.
And it's become such a huge part of Amazon's business.
Right. Bezos was also ahead of the curve in understanding the power of data and technology. He invested heavily in building Amazon's infrastructure, which allowed them to scale really quickly and offer a wider range of products and services.
Yeah, that early investment in technology, it gave them a huge advantage.
And let's not forget about his willingness to experiment, to expand into new areas. Kindle revolutionized how we read books, and AWS transformed cloud computing.
Right.
So Amazon's not just an e-commerce giant anymore, they're a tech powerhouse.
Yeah, it's an incredible story
It really is.
of how one idea, combined with a relentless focus on the customer and a willingness to embrace innovation, can create a global empire.
Yeah, it's impressive. It really is.
It is.
It's like he built this whole world online almost. But let's shift gears a little bit and talk about someone who built a world of imagination. Walt Disney.
Oh, yeah.
Now his story is all about dreaming big and never giving up on your vision, even when other people doubt you.
Yeah, the book talks about how Disney faced a lot of setbacks early on in his career. I mean, he was actually fired from a newspaper job for lacking imagination and having no good ideas.
Can you imagine being told that?
Oof, that's gotta sting.
But instead of letting that define him, he just kept going. He focused on his passion for animation.
And, well, the rest is history.
Right. He created Mickey Mouse.
Which became a global icon.
And then he revolutionized animation with the first synchronized sound cartoon, Steamboat Willie.
Yeah, that was
What's interesting is how he just kept pushing the boundaries of what was possible with animation.
He was always looking for ways to make his stories more engaging, more immersive.
And then there's Disneyland.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember going there as a kid, and it was just pure magic, the way he brought his characters and stories to life in a physical space.
Yeah, it was groundbreaking.
It wasn't just a theme park. It was like a whole new world.
The book says that Disney's vision for Disneyland was to create a place where families could escape, escape from the everyday and just immerse themselves in this world of fantasy and wonder.
Okay. From the world of imagination to the world of daring ventures, let's talk about Richard Branson and the Virgin Group.
Oh, yeah. Branson's a fascinating guy.
He seems to thrive on taking risks, shaking things up.
He's like the ultimate entrepreneur adventurer.
What I find so interesting about him is that his entrepreneurial spirit, it was there from the very beginning. He started his first business, a student magazine, when he was only 16.
Wow.
And then he went on to disrupt the music industry with Virgin Records.
Signing artists like the Sex Pistols, who were considered too controversial by other labels.
Right. He's not afraid to dive into industries where he has no prior experience.
Yeah.
Music, airlines, space tourism.
It's like he sees a challenge, and he just thinks, why not?
Exactly.
The book suggests that Branson's success comes from his ability to spot opportunities, where other people just see obstacles.
And he's also a master of branding. I mean, the Virgin brand, it's synonymous with innovation, adventure.
Yeah, and a little bit of rebelliousness, too.
Okay, now let's talk about someone who transformed how we connect with each other. Mark Zuckerberg. And the story of Facebook,
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, I remember when Facebook first came out, it was like this whole new way to interact with people online.
It was revolutionary.
Zuckerberg really tapped into this fundamental human need to connect and share with others.
Yeah, and launching Facebook from his Harvard dorm room, that's like the classic entrepreneur story of the digital age.
But what's interesting is how he's constantly adapted the platform as it's grown.
He's always looking for ways to improve it, to make it more engaging.
The book talks about how he wasn't afraid to make big bets, like acquiring Instagram and WhatsApp, even though they were seen as potential competitors.
Right. Those were smart moves to solidify Facebook's position.
And he recognized the importance of mobile early on,
Yeah.
shifting the company's focus from desktop to mobile.
Way before smartphones were as widespread as they are now.
It's amazing how Facebook has become such a big part of our lives.
For better or for worse.
Right. The book also talks about some of the controversies surrounding Facebook, data privacy, the spread of misinformation.
Yeah, Zuckerberg's faced a lot of scrutiny about the impact of social media on society.
It's definitely a complex issue with no easy answer.
Sure.
Okay, speaking of information, let's move on to another pair of entrepreneurs who revolutionized how we access knowledge. Larry Page and Sergey Brin, the founders of Google.
I
can't even imagine life without Google now.
It's become such an essential part of our lives. Their mission was to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible.
And they did it.
In a remarkably short amount of time.
The book talks about how their PageRank algorithm was a major breakthrough. It prioritized relevance.
Which made search results so much more accurate and useful.
Exactly. And they didn't stop at search. They expanded into email with Gmail, maps with Google Maps, video with YouTube, mobile operating systems with Android.
It's like they saw the potential of the internet to connect every aspect of our lives.
And they weren't afraid to experiment.
Some other ventures didn't work out, like Google Glass.
Right.
But they learned from those experiences.
And they kept innovating.
Their impact on how we access information is undeniable.
Okay. From organizing information to creating a global coffee empire. Let's talk about Howard Schultz and the story of Starbucks.
Oh, Starbucks.
Now, I'm a big coffee drinker. And I've always been impressed by how Starbucks took something as simple as coffee and turned it into this cultural phenomenon.
Yeah, it's more than just a coffee shop. It's an experience.
Schultz was inspired by the Italian coffee culture, where cafes were places for people to gather, socialize, enjoy a good cup of coffee.
He wanted to bring that same sense of community to the U.S.
The book talks about how he focused on creating a third place between home and work.
A welcoming environment where people can relax, connect with friends.
And he paid attention to the details, the design of the stores, the quality of the coffee, the training of the baristas.
He wanted to create a consistent and high-quality experience for customers.
And he also understood the importance of employee well-being. He offered healthcare benefits and stock options, even to part-time employees.
Which was pretty unheard of in the fast food industry at the time.
Right.
He recognized that happy employees lead to happy customers.
Okay. Now let's talk about an entrepreneur who saw a problem and decided to solve it herself. Sara Blakely. And the incredible story of Spanx.
Spanx?
She actually had no background in fashion or business when she started.
Really?
What's so inspiring about her story is that she identified a need, a very personal need.
Yeah.
And then she created a solution. She wasn't happy with how traditional hosiery looked under white pants.
So she decided to do something about it.
The book says that she literally cut the feet off her pantyhose to create the first prototype of Spanx.
Wow, that's resourceful.
And she faced a lot of rejection early on, pitching her product to department stores, but no one was interested.
But she didn't give up.
She got her big break on Oprah's Favorite Things segment.
Oh, wow.
And that exposure, it launched Spanx into the spotlight.
It's amazing how solving a problem, even a seemingly small one, can lead to such huge success.
Okay. Now let's circle back to two figures we talked about earlier, whose approaches, while different in many ways, here are some interesting parallels. Steve Jobs and Elon Musk.
Oh, yeah.
These two, they both have these incredibly bold visions.
Like they could see the future.
What strikes me is their unwavering belief in their own ideas. They weren't afraid to challenge conventional wisdom.
Jobs, with his focus on design and user experience, he revolutionized how we interact with technology.
And Musk, with his goals of sustainable energy and making humanity a multiplanetary species.
He's trying to tackle some of the biggest challenges facing the world,
They both seem to operate on a different level.
Thinking bigger and bolder than most people.
It's like they're not content with just building a company. They want to change the world.
And they're not afraid to take risks.
To embrace failure.
Yeah, they understand that failure is part of the process.
Okay. To wrap up this exploration of entrepreneurial journeys, let's turn to the wisdom of someone known for his long-term perspective, Warren Buffett.
Ah, the Oracle of Omaha.
Now, Buffett might not be the stereotypical flashy entrepreneur, but his story is just as compelling.
He's all about value investing.
Looking for companies with solid fundamentals, strong management teams,
And a durable competitive advantage.
and then he holds on to those investments for the long haul.
Letting them grow and compound over time.
He's not chasing quick profits.
Playing the long game.
The book highlights how his approach is as much about temperament as it is about analysis. He's known for his patience,
His discipline.
his ability to stay calm.
Even when the market is in turmoil.
He doesn't let emotions dictate his investment decisions.
That's a valuable lesson for anyone, not just investors.
So we've journeyed through these incredible stories, from garages to global empires, from cutting-edge technology to simple solutions that make our lives better. What stands out to you?
What I find most inspiring is that each of these entrepreneurs, despite their different backgrounds, industries, approaches, they all shared a few key traits.
Like what?
They all had a strong vision, a relentless drive, and a willingness to embrace risk.
Yeah.
They were all innovators, constantly looking for ways to improve or create something new,
They were passionate about their work.
driven by a desire to make a difference in the world.
It's incredible. These individuals didn't just build successful businesses, they shaped industries, transformed how we live.
And left a lasting legacy on the world.
It makes you wonder, what kind of impact do you want to make? What's your story going to be? Yeah, it really does make you think about what's possible. And, you know, one thing that really struck me as we were talking about these entrepreneurs was how they all seemed to embrace failure, like it was just part of the process.
Yeah, they weren't afraid to take risks. And when things didn't work out, they learned from it. And they came back stronger.
It's like that saying, you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs.
Exactly.
Sometimes you have to be willing to break a few things to create something new.
And these entrepreneurs, they show us that failure isn't the end, it's just a stepping stone.
Right. It's all about how you respond, how you learn from those experiences.
Exactly.
Another thing that stood out to me was their focus on the customer.
Oh, yeah.
They weren't just building products or services, they were creating experiences.
Experiences that met real needs and made people's lives better.
Like Bezos, with his obsession with making online shopping so easy.
Right. And Schultz with his vision of creating that third place where people could connect and feel a sense of community.
They understood that building a successful business isn't just about making money, it's about creating value for your customers.
Absolutely.
So as we've explored these different journeys, what lessons do you think we can take away, even for not all aspiring entrepreneurs?
Well, I think one of the biggest takeaways is the importance of having a growth mindset.
Growth mindset.
Yeah. Being open to new ideas, embracing change, seeing challenges as opportunities.
These entrepreneurs, they were all incredibly driven.
And they were willing to put in the hard work.
And they also understood the importance of building strong teams.
Right. None of them achieved success alone.
It's amazing how one person with the right mindset and determination can create something truly remarkable.
It really is inspiring.
So what's the biggest takeaway for you?
For me, it's the reminder that the world is constantly changing. And the people who are willing to adapt, to innovate, to embrace the unknown, those are the people who will shape the future.
Well said. We hope this deep dive into success stories from famous entrepreneurs has given you some food for thought, and maybe even inspired you to dream a little bigger.
Maybe you'll be the next inspiring story we're talking about.
Thanks for joining us. We'll catch you next time.